Hello, it's Frank, that one web guy, and I'm back with another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how I create thumbnails for different YouTube videos. The one I'm doing today is for our church, the one that we usually post on Mondays after the service on Sunday. And I just like to go in and add a title and just find the appropriate image. So what I do is I actually open up Photoshop, and I go to open up the file and bring it in. You can actually bring in the video file into Photoshop. So I go to my videos folder, and I use a service called Audios to pull down the file, make a copy of it. We do a live stream from YouTube. Sometimes Audios doesn't always work with the live stream video unless there's certain settings on there. So what I do is I have the video here and I have the timeline open. If you don't have the timeline open already, you can just click on Windows and select Timeline, and it'll add. You can see here it has it down here at the bottom, or it doesn't currently. I turned it off. If I click on Timeline, we have this timeline window. And we have several different scrub features here. We can move back and forth through the video timeline itself here at the bottom, or we can change how much of it we scroll at a time. You see, if I move to the right, the scroll bar gets thinner as we move left or right. That means you can scroll more of it quicker. I like to just bump it up a little bit, and then we can use this playhead, as they call it, above here to just scroll through the video. Sometimes I like to get close. I have an idea where the timeline is that I want, so actually move to the left and we'll go through it faster. I think I said that backwards just a moment ago, but we can scroll through. I can get into the message here, and I'm looking for an arrow or an area where the pastor may be like pointing, or your subject, if you're doing a different video, you may be looking for the right frame that you're looking for. I like to use 1/3. Sometimes I'll do the middle, but not very often, and then put a title off to one side or the other. I generally like to see if maybe he's pointing. Like in this one, he's pointing, but he's not facing. So I like to have it pointed to the title. So we could, move this over or whatever. There's some Photoshop techniques we could do with that. But I just try to scrub through and find an area that might be close to what I'm wanting. So this one may not be bad. So what I can do, of course, is expand this so that it minimizes how fastly we go. So, I could just get a little bit closer and see where his hands go. Maybe he steps to the left or the right. See, he goes to the left there, but he's looking away. And I know he's going to turn back and look to the right here as he gets to this side. So it's pretty close to what I'm looking for. He's looking dead on. See, and he looks like he's getting ready to look that way. So I could actually possibly catch it if I kind of look around. He's looking at the message, so this may not be bad. It's a little blurry, which I can use some filters to sharpen that, but you can see where I could put a text message, and your eye, psychologically, your mind would say, okay, he's looking this way, what is he looking at? And then it would see the title. I could, scrub a little bit more to see if, he looks back again or looks forward. This one may not be bad because he's looking, it's a different camera angle, and I could put the title and all right here on the right. Now this image is a little dark, and I can do a few things with that as well. We have a little bit with the keyboard and the stand from this angle. It's not too bad. Sometimes I'll remove the water bottle. It all depends. So maybe I'll scroll just a little bit more to see what we can get. So I'll reduce this and go to another section and just scrub that way. See if I can get something like here. He's getting ready to point or maybe extend his hand. So I'll enlarge this just a bit more and see where he tweaks. See if I can tweak it. Not what I want, because you can tell it's kind of blurry. I want it to be sharp, which is kind of hard, as you're slowing down a video. And he's going to walk off to the right here a little bit, so that may not work unless he comes back. See, he's pointing there, which may not be bad. But I want him to be all the way on the screen and not have his mouth open. So you obviously want to, you want to flatter the person in the video. Obviously you want it to look good, whether it be yourself or somebody else. In this case, it's somebody else. I do this for my own videos as well on occasion. See, this one may not be bad here, and then I can hide some of this with the title. So in this case, this is probably what I'll do. I'll just enlarge this just a bit to see if I can get a little bit sharper image. His mouth's open, so and he's looking to the left just, or his right just a little bit. And I kind of like right in here somewhere. See if we can sharpen this up. So that doesn't look too bad. Of course, I'm on a larger screen. We're using this as a thumbnail, so it's not going to show too much at this size. So what I might do is go ahead and use this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to layer and flatten the image. I'm going to discard layers and animation, and then I can come in and I'll do a filter and sharpen. And then if I wanted to, I could use, and this is going to pop up on my other screen, I'm almost certain, but if I do a filter and do a camera raw filter, is it going to pop up at all? Yep, it pops up on my other screen. And for some reason or another, it's not letting me drag to the other side. So let me pause here a bit. I'll show you, see if there's another way I can do this. I wish it would show it on my other screen. It's not allowing me to drag it. I can go full screen, but it's not allowing me to drag it. So let's do a little bit different here. So we'll just use our adjustments here. So I can use brightness and contrast. So we can change a little bit of brightness and contrast here. Bring up the brightness. We're getting a little bit of pixelation in the colors, so we can fiddle with that just a little bit. Making them a little too bright though. And then we can come in and image adjustments. As I said, I usually use this in camera raw filter. But we can kind of play around with the coloring and the shading and stuff like that, the color balance, exposure and stuff like that. So I'll play around with that in just a moment and you'll see the finished results. As you see here, I just did a few tweaks on the color, just modified the saturation. I increased the black, or decreased the black, went into here. You can change like the levels, and you can change the, like the black and the white, whether you want a little bit more saturation. You have to be careful not to flood out the face, or you can change this center slider for the input levels. If you go too light on to the left, you can start seeing the pixelization of the image itself. Or if you go to the right, you make it too dark. So there's some different settings you can apply there. If you want, you can go in and if you wanted to, I could come in and I like to come in here and put like a box around that. You can either do the selection tool there. You can do the edit and content aware fill, and it will remove the water bottle. I'm going to say OK, and now our water bottle's gone. I like to take that out because it has some reflections. It just kind of distracts the eye to look at places that are shiny. I do that also with this tool here called spot healing and brush tool. So I might reduce it here. If you use the bracket tool on your keyboard, you can use the left one to reduce and the other to enlarge. I might just take out like a few of these spots here. That's just me. Just some of these shiny spots that stick out. Totally up to you. Whatever you want to do. As I said, most of the people aren't even going to look at this maybe 30 seconds as they start the video. So that's, as I said, totally up to you. So what I will do then is I'll bring in my title. I'll open up a recent one. I should open up from file open. I have one here on my cloud documents from a recent one. Of course, it pops up on the other screen. And go back to a previous that I had, like this one here. So it'll pop up this video, and I want to just copy what I've used previously. So I'll come over here and I'll grab, there's 3 layers over here I can grab. Oops, if I hit the right keys, if I hit shift, the top and the bottom ones, I'm going to right click and duplicate layers and bring it into the one I'm working on now, which is our July 9th. And you can see that they're over here. I can just drag them over to where I want them to be. to bring them in, and then change the title. And once I have it set, the title saved, I'm not sure what I'm going to put there as for the title quite yet, so I'll have to come back and do that. You can see that there's some background here, so you could actually add maybe a filter behind there. Maybe you want to use if you go to, I'll have to click on this here for the name there, so I'll do layer style. We could do an outer glow, which is already on it, but just kind of expand that. So it's at size is 24. We can expand that a little bit to see if that filters out. Nope, it's not going to filter out too much, so I'm just going to leave it that way. Or you could drop in a box behind this just to enhance it. So what I could do is I'll click here and add a new layer, and maybe we want to add a rectangle box just like this behind it. It's white, I want to make it black. Change the opacity of it so it just kind of hints that it's, so you can kind of do that a little bit. Maybe I want to round the corners just to kind of fade it in, just to give it a little bit of separation from the background. So when I click off, we have that there, and it just kind of fades that in a bit. And I could change this to be a little bit more space at the top and the bottom so it's more consistent. I may not make these as sharp, or make them a little bit sharper. Cancel, click off. So you could do that to create some separation and make the text stand out a little bit more. Or you can use a gradient layer, different things to do there. So I'm going to think about the title and I'll come right back. So in this one I'm going to make a few more changes to it. I've got my text that I want to use, so I'll change to that layer over here on the right. And put in something like that. Now I can increase the font size on this just to fill in the area, or I can just reduce this down, which of course shortens what we need for our black box. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of that. I don't like that method so well, just because it adds a hard edge. So what I'll do is maybe increase our font just a bit to see what we'll get. So I'll play around with that just a moment. Now I'm using a newer version of Photoshop that allows me to change the font here if I want. We'll go with the 72. Oops, I need to select that all. Go with 72 point and see what that gives us. You can bring this up. Might even reduce this a little bit widthwise, because I like the stacked look a little bit more, which means I would have to reduce our bar in the between, which I'll do. Get it close to. It gives me this nice little ruler tool that allows me to see where the end of that is. And then we'll reduce the pastor's name here a little bit, just to bring everything into proportion. If I want to do that, or if I want it to be the same width, I can do that. I'll do the Control T to select it so I can have a free transform. And have it that way. And then we'll reduce this one, just bring this down a little bit so that the spacing here is the same. No, it's a little bit more critical that way. So we'll go with this. I wish this was just a little bit sharper. Let's see if I can sharpen it just a little bit more. Filter, sharpen. Oh, that's too much. So we'll do the filter sharpen. That's a little too much too. So we'll just leave it like that. And now what we can do, of course, like we said, we could add some different things here behind us to make this just a little bit more of a pop. I think we're only losing it on his name. So we could add a box to the name there. Or we could actually maybe add a drop shadow to give some pop. So I'll click over here. We have a down arrow which says that there's more information, so I'll click on the effects, and it'll pop open my window here, and I'll just go to take out the outer glow and then click on drop shadow to see what we get there, and see if we can add some drop shadow just to give some separation for the background. Just a little bit. Change the opacity is already there, so we can change the spread. Now this is very minimal, but it just gives me enough to kind of fuzz that out enough to take out the background, which I like it like that just a bit. And I'm going to move it up just a hair so that we're about the same. So then when I'm done with this, I'll just go click on File and export as, and I like to use the JPEG for this just because it creates a smoother and just a smaller file. I've got a lot open, so my computer's dragging just a little bit. It's 179K, which isn't bad. It just gives us a good quality. I can go maximum high on this, and it only doubles it just a bit. So I'll go export, and it'll say July 9th, and I usually put it in a certain folder on my computer. So I'll go to public. You know, I might over organize, but to me it comes in handy to do it this way, so I know if I'm doing a lot of work for a certain client, it just makes it easy. Let's go to images, and then I have thumbnails over here, sermon thumbnails. I'll just leave it at July 9th, save. And then when I go to the edit the worship itself, where are we here? I can come down here. I'm on the video details for this. I just click on the three dots, change. Again, we'll go back to where I saved the folder, which I should have. Websites, customers, although I wouldn't really consider them a customer, but that's where I have it. Images, sermon thumbnails, July 9th, open, save, and that saves the new thumbnail instead of the default or whatever YouTube came up with. As you can see here, we have some defaults that YouTube pulled out, and they're just, you know, they're action photos from the video, but I just like to have more of a still placement video that just looks a lot better in our YouTube channel. So if I go back and look at our channel content now, you can see, let's see, let's go to the channel itself. I think I might have it open here somewhere, or I just go here. You can see that the videos look more uniform. I tried a different background color there on that title. Don't know if I like it so much, but you can just see that we have a more uniformity instead of just a bunch of random videos like we might have here that just, you know, it doesn't really say what the video is about. You just see a person doing something. So having a title on your thumbnail really helps a lot. And I just hope that this short tutorial gives you an idea of how to create your own YouTube thumbnail videos easier, YouTube thumbnails from a video easier. So I'll be back with another video soon, and I just hope you found this useful. Thanks.